the Municipal Planning Commission meeting to order. The Municipal Planning Commission is conducting this meeting in person and via conference call in accordance with the Municipal Government Act, Section 199. Council chambers is now open for public attendance in person. However, members may still join meetings remotely using our current teleconference process. As per Wheatland County Policy 7.13, members of the public are not permitted to speak unless the Commission agrees to hear from them. If the Commission agrees to allow the public to speak, the Chair will call upon specific individuals at that time. Please note, this call is being recorded and will be uploaded to our website and/or social media. For any individuals using the conference call line, we ask that you mute your phone to eliminate background noise. Everyone has a right to be present at a Municipal Planning Commission meeting. Any attendees that are considered disruptive to the progression of this meeting may be removed at the discretion of the Chair as per Municipal Government Act Section 198. We thank you for your cooperation and understanding. Is there any of the two members that are missing, either Member Kester or Member Larson, phoning in? No? Okay, thank you. We have an agenda in front of us. Are there any changes?
None from administration.
Thank you.
I'll move the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Member Clausen. Yes.
I have one thing that I don't think is included.
Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry I had phone call troubles this morning, but I'm here now.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, just hang on a second there.
Matt from
Right.
administration. Municipal Planning Commission is not a public hearing. Practice in the past when we do items, typically the Municipal Planning Commission will vote on that to allow someone to speak to an item. We are not on any items. However, administration can follow up with the member and see if we can place it on a future, place whatever item it may be on a future agenda item if it is pertinent to Municipal Planning Commission.
Thank you. Okay, now that we have somebody that's on the phone line, we will be we'll be using expressed opposition, and it'll be a vote by exception. So I'll call a roll call vote. Member Eichert is here. Member Link.
Good morning.
Member Clausen.
I'm here.
Member Laprise.
I'm here.
Member Bigger.
Here.
Member Kester.
Here.
Thank you. We have an agenda that is the motion to pass the agenda. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, that is passed. We have the adoption of the minutes.
I'll move the minutes be approved as presented.
Thank you, Member Link. Discussion? Call the vote. Any opposition? Seeing and hearing none, that is passed. We'll start on development permit application DP 2022-110.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Suzanne Hayes, Development Officer with Wheatland County. The application before us is DP 2022-110, a dwelling manufactured 2, which was originally presented at the July 12th MPC meeting and was tabled. The entire report, which was presented at that meeting, was included as an appendix to today's report. So the location plan is on page 16 of the application of the agenda package. And this application is approximately 4.5 miles northeast of Carsland. The circulation map is on the same page. It was circulated prior to the July MPC meeting to surrounding landowners within 1 mile. It wasn't circulated again prior to this meeting. At that time, we did receive a response from the applicant and from relatives of the applicant. We didn't receive any responses from surrounding landowners. We had a response from our agency circulation, which was circulated to Park Enterprises at that time. And at that time, the building safety code officer had said, because of the structural uncertainty of the unit, a certified structural engineer would have to verify the unit prior to moving. The site plan and some aerial photos are on page 17 and 18 of the agenda package. So just a summary, the application was to move a 50 by 27 manufactured dwelling constructed in approximately 1988 from Delburn to a 5.53 acre parcel in Wheatland County. It did not meet the CSA 8277 requirement, so it was considered to be a dwelling manufactured type 2. The applicant did submit a report at that time, but it was completed by a home inspector rather than a safety codes officer or a structural engineer. The report did include comments identifying several areas of concern, including but not limited to the roof, drainage, gutters, walls, soffits, fascia, walls, trim, siding, roof framing, sheathing, the roof, and attic. So at that time, we had a building safety codes officer from Park Enterprises agree to look at the inspection report so that hopefully to avoid the applicant having to have another inspection completed. And at that time, he did say that he thought a structural engineer would have to verify the unit prior to moving. So during that meeting, staff recommended to refuse the application because the inspection report was not in accordance with the land use bylaw requirements. And based on the information provided in the home inspection report, the safety code officer is recommending that it be inspected by a certified structural engineer prior to moving. Also, because the development authority is unable to draft conditions as the county did not receive an inspection report with recommendations. And so the Municipal Planning Commission discussed the application, discussed several aspects, including if we refuse the application, would the applicant be not able to reapply for another 6 months, or whether the applicant could still obtain a structural engineer report, what was the county's liability in the movement of the structure if approved, and the option to defer the decision to allow the applicant to obtain the proper report. So MPC did approve a motion to table the decision pending submission of an inspection report prepared by a professional structural engineer prior to being located into the county. So since that meeting in July, the applicant advised that they were going to go ahead and get the proper report completed. In August, they advised that they had a structural engineer booked for an inspection on August 22nd. On September 19th, we received a report that the dwelling was already on the property. And then on September 21st, the applicant emailed a structural engineer's report dated September 1st, which stated that it had been completed after the dwelling had been moved to the site. And the complete report is found on page 21 of the agenda package. But it did include, it said that the dwelling consists of 2 sections that have been placed on new foundations and connected together. A skirt has been placed around the perimeter. House wrap is exposed on the exterior and siding has not been replaced. I believe that's no longer the case. I think the siding is all on now. Foundation consists of wood cribs that are commonly used to support mobile homes. The interior has sustained minor damage. The house has been moved successfully and is structurally sound and safe to occupy. So with this information, a warning letter was emailed to the applicant because the dwelling had been moved on site without any permits, and an inspection was completed, and the photos have been attached to this report on pages 18, 19, and 20. And it was also noted that a deck had been constructed, which was not included in the initial permit application. The applicant did pay the double fee penalty once they got the warning letter, so they did pay that. So some considerations. Still, there are no concerns raised from the initial circulation to surrounding landowners. The inspection report was completed in accordance to the land use bylaw requirements. The engineer determined the dwelling was structurally sound and safe to occupy, and the scope and manner of work that has been completed will be evaluated during the safety code application process. So staff have provided a recommendation on page 10 of the agenda package, and it is that Municipal Planning Commission approved this development permit for a dwelling manufactured type 2, subject to the conditions as noted, with condition number 2 added saying that they need to apply for a permit for a deck, which they did not. They didn't get a development permit or safety code permits. And condition number 6, that they submit a $5,000 deposit, as is normally the process for a used dwelling, and that would be returned once the foundation is finished, the stairs, siding, roofing, and also that all of the safety code permits have been obtained in all of the required disciplines. And the safety code permits will be also subject to double the application fee, since all of the work, I don't know how much work, but some of the work has been completed without safety code permits. So MPC has the standard 3 options found on page 14. And that concludes my presentation. Please let me know if you have questions.
Thank you, Suzanne. MPC's wishes? Yes.
I'll move that Municipal Planning Commission approve DP 2022-110 for a dwelling manufacturing 2, subject to the following conditions from 1 to 6.
Thank you, Commissioner Bigger. Discussion?
Chairman, I know it's not a public hearing,
Yeah,
but
sorry.
it's not, you are violating your own policies. You need to
This is
bring all the
MP's
information in front of you.
Sorry, Brian, this
That's
is,
not being done. The agenda package is incomplete. A warning letter that your Suzanne referred to is not included. I'm curious why you're not.
Yes. member link.
I'm just pulling up our MPC bylaw. Sorry, I did have it. I believe it says that MPC can vote to hear from, like, regarding a request for an application. Is that, I can find the I can find the bylaw. I did have it.
Would somebody on MPC care to
Oh, I've got it.
allow public to speak?
Sure, I have no problem with this, hearing him speak. Oh, there's administration.
Is there anyone opposed? Hearing none.
Matt, administration.
Through the chair, just to commission, as has been in the past, as administration did qualify at the start of this meeting, commission has voted to hear from a speaker. However, it's not a public hearing, so no questions may be asked, so long as it is new information. What you did hear from the development officer was, in fact, the steps that were taken with respect to this application. It's administration's view that this is a full application for Municipal Planning Commission to consider with the fulsome information. Thank you.
Having heard that, we wish to hear from the public.
I'm just, sorry, I just got to go back. Did we call the question already? There was a motion on the floor still?
Still a motion on
Still
the
in
floor.
motion.
Okay. So is the public can speak to if there's some change on the motion, I guess. But I'm okay with hearing from the public.
Not sure what it accomplishes, but I will listen.
Yeah,
No questions being asked, so anybody opposed?
not opposed, just a comment. For me, if there's a concern, I would rather hear it, so that whether we can address it today or address it in the future, recognizing that we do have a complete package from administration, and have heard the processes that have gone into it, but there was an indication that there was a concern, so.
I just want to make note that I believe the administrations has fulfilled all their obligations. I'm not sure why we need to listen to this, but other than myself, is anybody opposed to this? The fact that I'm opposed, I will take a roll call vote. Commissioner Eichert is opposed. Commissioner Link.
In favor.
Commissioner Clausen.
In favor.
Commissioner Laprise.
In favor.
Commissioner Bigger.
In favor?
Commissioner Kester.
In favor.
Right. That member is allowed to speak.
Yes, please.
Please, and state your name, please.
My name is Brian DeJong, and I'm acting as an agent for the Wheatland County resident and stakeholder in this. I think the document, the agenda packages is almost complete. The only thing that I found that was an omission was the stakeholder letter the letter of September the 26th, which outlined some of the steps that were going to happen to the resident due to the fact that they had moved their thing on their property prior to getting the structural engineer's approval. I think it's important that council and MPC see that letter, because some of the items in there that threatened imprisonment and triple fines, I think, need to be understood of the concept that this was pretty heavy-handed. And I'd asked MPC to consider some leniency in this. The suggestion that double the permitting fees, I don't think is fair. This couple has done everything that they possibly could. They really didn't have options. And I think that everything they've done, considering it's September 26th, this was received. And we're currently in October the 11th, and we all know that those of us that have lived in southern Alberta for most of our life, how winter can come quickly, and they have moved forward to getting some of the stuff completed due to the fact that winter could be upon us at any time. And so I'm asking MPC to just apply the regular permitting fees and not double fees. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, I'm between myself and my daughter-in-law, Kendra, we can certainly provide as much information as you would need. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, I feel that they're on the right, the steps are being followed, progress is being made, so the reason why I'm okay with the motion.
Any other discussion? Seeing or hearing that, I'll call the vote. Anyone opposed? Hearing that, I deem that passed. We'll move on to Subdivision Applications SD 22-015.
Sorry. Question.
Sorry.
Just a question to administration before we move on. Just if there are concerns about like an enforcement letter that's sent out, would it be appropriate just to update, and it doesn't have to be today, but MPC just about what's typically in an enforcement letter, what that's based on, and that type of thing, just so that we can be aware of the process.
Absolutely.
And how it's being conveyed to ratepayers.
Yeah, a great question through the chair to the commission. So we typically provide, obviously, next steps. It's very objective. It's based on legal parameters and best practices. And obviously guidance was sought from legal counsel when we put those together. Standard boilerplate, and we craft it obviously unique to and specific to each application. We can put an other matter on a future municipal planning commission as an educational background as to how that ongoing education is very important for commission when you take consideration matters and approval matters into consideration. However, just of note, enforcement letters are purely operational. So they are obviously governed through the Municipal Government Act and our various policies and bylaws, but we can put an education session on for Municipal Planning Commission on how enforcement occurs under the end land use bylaw, should the commission choose to do that. Not a problem.
Yes, Commissioner Clausen.
Being that it was presented to us that we should see it, is there a problem if we do see that letter? Because it is public knowledge. I mean, I could get it from the applicant quite easily.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it should be circulated to MPC for review. It was presented to us that we should see it. I don't have a problem.
The problem is, though, so somebody breaks the law. Administration has a set of guidelines that they follow. The fact that my feelings are hurt because I broke the law and then they're going to be double or triple fined, that's on me. That's not on, as long as administration is following the rules, and this is proper rules. Yes, Commissioner Ling.
Yeah, and I obviously don't want to step outside of our governance role and understand that the enforcement is under administration's purview. I do want to understand just the process, what it's based on, and to understand what's going out to ratepayers. So, and I guess specifically, I would clarify not even specific to this file, but just in general how enforcement is communicated. In terms of the fees, it is important to me that we are consistent. So at times I know it is unfortunate, but I do feel that we need to be consistent with the penalties when work or development is done without the permit in place. We do have that in place for a reason, and I do want us to stay consistent with that. But I also would just like to understand the enforcement process.
So just for commission's consideration then, how about if administration puts together kind of a little educational process on enforcement? We can use some letters depending on if it was a commercial development or a mobile home development, and showcase kind of, just boilerplate communication that happens, not specific to any one application, just subject to FOIP and all of that, if we can put that together for a future municipal planning commission. So, and we can also include kind of warnings if compliance is not there, something like that, if that would be good for.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. Perfect.
So we can put that together just for the commission at a future date. Not sure if it will be the next one, but an educational background presentation, perhaps.
Perfect. Sorry to keep you waiting, Stefan.
No worries. Good morning, committee members. Stefan Kuntz on behalf of administration. Subdivision item 2022-015 is a boundary adjustment. The lands are located approximately 4 miles west of the hamlet of Carsland. They're immediately south of the intersection of Range Road 265 and Township Road 222. So turning your attention to the air photo. So there are 2 parcels here currently. It looks like 3. What's lot 1 and lot 2 labeled here? That's actually one parcel, so it's actually on one title. But as you can see, it's not contiguous. There's this creek and then 3 separate Western Irrigation District parcels between them. Lot 1A here is also, it's owned by the applicant now. It's a former piece of road allowance, Range Road 265. That was closed in 2020. It's now owned by the owner of lots 1 and 2 here. So the objective is to essentially take this non-contiguous larger parcel, keep it as 2 separate titles, not creating any title, but having essentially all the lands to the west of Range Road 265 be one parcel, 24.74 acres in size, and all the lands to the east be another parcel, 79.35 acres in size. So this portion would get amalgamated essentially into this larger portion of lot 1. In terms of development or developability, lot 2 is not developed, doesn't have a dwelling or any accessory buildings. It's used for agricultural production. Access is available via an approach to Township Road 222. Lot 1 has a number of grain silos and a hay shed on site, but no dwelling. It also has access, you can see the approach here, also to Township Road 222. The Lot 2 is over 30 acres in size, doesn't have a dwelling, obviously, so we didn't require the groundwater assessment and private sewage treatment assessments. You'll note Lot 1, it is the 30 acres is essentially the cutoff. It is below that size, but the administration waived that requirement at the application stage, obviously because it's increasing the size of the lot. They're not actually proposing development. That's not the intent behind this. It's actually just a sort of an administrative measure to kind of straighten out these non-contiguous parcels here. So obviously if council is, or committee is interested in having those requirements, they could make an amendment to include those as conditions. Lastly, municipal reserves are outstanding. However, given the size of the parcel, there is potential for further development, so we are recommending that those be deferred at this stage. So that concludes my presentation. We are recommending approval in accordance with the conditions on page 46, and happy to take any questions should you have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. MPC's wishes?
I'll move that that Municipal Planning Commission approve DP 2022-110 for a dwelling what am I doing here? Approve subdivision applications SD 2022-1015, subject to the following conditions from 1 to 6.
Discussion. Thank you. Thank you,
Now that I got the right one.
Commissioner Vigor. Discussion. Everything seems pretty straightforward. I'll call the vote. Anyone opposed? Hearing no opposition, that is passed. I think that brings us to the end of this session. We are adjourned.